Do you follow Toxic King on Twitter? Toxic King on Twitter? I don't know who it is actually, but he's just like, it's literally the future texting meme. And it's just Toxic King.
Oh, yeah.
So once your mama knows you smoke some weed, everything's weed's fault. It's no longer hers. No longer hers. Fucking heavy. 315. Set of 9, set of 8. Win that Powerball. My life won't change that much. Work out, cook, chill. No. Chest work, a lot of back work. Did 3 sets, the 315 on the bench. Got 9, 8, 8. Thought I was gonna be able to get 10 on that first one, but didn't push it too hard. Kind of slowed the lockout. Back down off of that. Hit a lot of close grip bench. Now we're gonna do a lot of back work, some more chest accessories, some arms. But heavy emphasis on a lot of back today. Try to get a little more width. What I see a lot of times with upper back movements and trying to get lat activation is the idea that we need to set our shoulders back to keep things out of the traps or keep things in a good postural position. And that should really be the end destination, not the beginning. When you think about rows, for example, if I already start off this way, that lat's already shortened to where all I can really start using is a lot of the rear delt scapular muscles, teres minor, teres major, all those muscles back there, and then a lot of traps too. What we really want to focus on is keeping that at length and maximizing the range of motion of the lat. So starting off with a lot of length, and then from there, pulling the lat kind of down at an angle, and then finishing back in a maximally short position. Doing a straight arm pull down to isolate the lats, we're going to try and think about creating as much width as we can to get that lat in length, and then creating and keeping that width as we go down to then get into a short position. One thing I like to really focus on is that squeeze position at the bottom. I try to think about my arms, my biceps, physically pushing my pecs together to shorten that range as much as possible. So I try to squeeze there, pause, feel that really deep peak contraction, and then come back up, get a good stretch at the top, squeeze, and be really methodical about each end position. Obviously you want to focus on the whole repetition, but like most things, it's not only how you start, but also how you finish. Ask your girlfriend, ask your wife, ask your ex. Maybe don't ask your ex, because how you finish might have been the problem. A lot of people get caught up on the novelty of new exercises. My dad does this thing where every time he golfs with a new golf club, the first round, it's the greatest golf club. And then you play a couple more rounds, you look over in his bag and that golf club's gone. And so really what you don't allow yourself to do is to develop a better neurological connection to an exercise. Oftentimes we do a new exercise, we try it and we're like, oh yeah, this is great, I love that. And then it almost becomes part of your routine. And then it kind of loses its luster a little bit. So the best thing I can say for any exercise, especially one that you find to be effective, is to continue with that exercise as much as you can. And really, it kind of goes down to the, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Be methodical, really think about the exercises that you're doing, and you can get as much as you can out of that exercise before shifting and moving to a different exercise. But most of y'all can't even do one. Sit behind a desk all day and come home like, oh, I'm too tired to go to the gym. Your goals and your priorities aren't important to you then. Because change is hard fucking work. To battle physical stress, mental stress, financial stress. Life's fucking hard. Either way. So, what do they say? Being broke is hard, being rich is hard. I'd rather be working hard to get rich and go through that hard than be poor and hard. When we do something like a dip, or in this case, a seated dip machine, it gives us the ability to try and really focus on that deep stretch in one of the weakest positions that the shoulder can be in, where that elbow is driving really far behind the shoulder axis. And so it really helps us prevent a lot of injuries getting really strong in this position. Because really, I've seen probably a lot more pec tears with people doing like weighted dips than I've seen with bench press. Not that bench press is the safest of exercises, but really kind of just goes to show you, you can get wrecked no matter what exercise if you're not focused and really focusing on the positions and the overall health of the muscle joint region that you're working. So when doing dips, what we really want to focus on is keeping the traps down and allowing that elbow to move in kind of a pendulum around the shoulder. The shoulder kind of stays in the same position and the elbow kind of moves back like this. Elbow finishes in alignment with that shoulder. As it comes back, it swings back, and then I come forward, I fully extend. When I fully extend, I'm not shrugging here, I'm pushing down. And I try to keep, again, the shoulders and ear distance almost the same, if not increasing the distance in the finished position. So trying to really finish depressing the shoulders down, locking out and really pushing through those triceps, because that's what's going to give you the biggest pec contraction at the bottom and really work those triceps too. People are doing bicep curls, a lot of front delt engagement occurs. That happens when we're swinging the weight up. What we need to realize is to optimally contract the bicep, really what we need to focus on is getting it a good length, stretching under load safely, and then just touching the forearm and the bicep together, right? That's the whole job of the bicep, is to pull into elbow flexion. And really beyond that, there's nothing else that really occurs at this lower joint. Right, this lower insertion, that's all we do. We talk upper insertion, we're talking raising that arm up, right? Supporting our pec through that range of motion, our shoulder through that range of motion. So the idea that we have to touch our forehead or swing the weight up you're starting to isolate a lot of that upper insertion, but that's not the strongest muscle that performs that function. So you're gonna start using a lot more front delt. And then maybe if your front delt fatigues, you'll start using bicep. That rarely is the case. So focus on getting it to safe length and then going from there into maximal elbow flexion by just touching your forearm and your bicep together every single time, every single rep. Touch, go, touch. And one way to really maximize that bicep contraction is actually going to be contracting the tricep at that bottom position. We can contract that tricep at the bottom position. You're maximally going to lengthen that bicep a little bit more and create more of that safe micro trauma to the muscle that's going to increase the cellular recruitment and signaling from our brain to say, hey, we need to recruit as much cellular repair to this muscle tissue so we can come back bigger and stronger for the next time it encounters this level of stress. Really, you want to try and maximize range of motion and load as much as possible as you can with safety. Really what you want to do is try and maximize the amount of range of motion under appropriate load with safety. What you want to try and really do to grow and strengthen any muscle is to safely maximize the amount of load you can do under the greatest range of motion. Again, the key is safety there. You want to try and perform under the most shortened position of a muscle and under the most lengthened position of the muscle. And the best way to lengthen a tissue maximally is to contract and shorten the antagonist muscle group. So with biceps and triceps, it's real easy to think about. I'm doing a tricep extension. I'm going to focus on pushing down as much as I can, but when I come up to the top, I want to squeeze. I'm going to squeeze that bicep to maximally lengthen my tricep as much as possible. Same thing with the bicep curl. We want to contract as much as we can. And when we come down, squeeze that tricep, lengthen the bicep more, recruit a little bit more signaling to that muscle to grow, repair the tissue, make it stronger, make it bigger, and more dense for the next time it encounters stress. That's going to be the way you can improve just a little bit more the efficiency of every single rep that you do, the effectiveness of every single rep that you do. Focus and think, be very methodical about every single repetition, because that's what separates the average person from the fabulous person. C-bomb.